Servus beieinander.
Servus beieinander, wir sind heute im Westin Grand Hotel und interviewen, Trommelwirbel, Legenden, und zwar Status Quo, vielmehr Francis Rossi und den neuen Gitarristen Richie Malone. Wir sind schon ganz gespannt. Es gibt nämlich ab dem 6. September ein neues Album, das heißt Blackbone, und da werden wir heute ein bisschen drüber reden. Und freilich lasse ich sie dann auch wieder was auf Bayerisch sagen. Gehen wir hoch! Your album will be released on the 6th of September, so what can we expect?
I don't know. I can't sit to the camera and say it's the most fantastic thing we've ever done, but that's what generally you're supposed to say when doing promo. But there's been a real galvanised sense of the band being very much of a team and to fight against that. So the people that said, no, we shouldn't be here and shouldn't be doing this after Rick and so on, have only made us dig in harder, which just annoys them somewhat. But they did that to Rick and I years ago, that we shouldn't carry on without Alan and John. And all that did was make you fight harder. So perhaps if they'd all said, oh, yeah, wonderful, perhaps we wouldn't have been where we are now. And they can expect from the album what they like. They only get what they get. Yeah! But that's the truth with everything in life. I think, what do you think they should expect for the album?
I think it's fresh. In my opinion, and the obvious fact is that this is this lineup's first album. You know, this is the first time the five of us have done a brand new studio album, new songs. So you're going to hear that, and it's got a fresh sound to it, but it still has something that the old Quo fan base are going to recognise. It has got, you know, the old formulas on that, but it still has a different twist on it, I think. And Leon's song has come on. It's different, but it's still got, you know, a lovely fresh sound to it. But with that guitar sound, you're going to expect to hear, you know. But
so what's your effect on the sound nowadays?
I just do what I'm told. No, we haven't tried to change it up too much, you know. We just lay the tracks down in the studio and see what sounds right, what needs tweaking. We don't try to be too different. The guitar tone I brought it from home. Francis liked it, and we tweaked it a slight bit. But you know, we're lucky that we have a foundation to work on. It's not, well, what do we do here? You know, he's done it a few times before. You know?
What he did bring to it, in seriousness, is that when we first rehearsed in Belgium, it was difficult for him and difficult for us. But I found very quickly what he brought was that the old songs that we do, he's brought the early dynamics and the early things of the early arrangements and, if you like, the early magic to the song. So we find that while we're on stage, everybody's making eye contact to see where it's about to go, particularly dynamically. And so that makes it very interesting for us and exciting on stage. And some of the fans have noticed that you're all seeing, you're connecting because what we're about to do here. And I think so, therefore, with the record, a similar thing has happened. Without giving him too much in that, oh, Richie, you'll love me, then he brought something. If you could write it down and put it in and buy it, then we would. But you can't find it's an intangible thing that he has brought.
Is there something on your album that you would think of being more experimental or not typical for Status Quo?
Yeah, the opening track. However, it's difficult because, as he said, it's fresh, but it doesn't lose its
magic.
Its core. I don't know about its magic. Maybe it doesn't lose its core.
I heard the songs, and I really think they sound dynamic, fresh, but without losing that magic. That's good
that you mentioned the dynamic. And apart from the dynamic, as we said just now, in the music, in the making of the record itself, started out with less what we call harmonic distortion on guitars. We didn't set. There wasn't a precedent. Two guitars have to be equal all the time, or they had to be double tracked all the time. Each song was different, and it was recorded. And in the final analysis, I don't know. You're nodding about mastering today. On a meter, most people will know a meter bridge looks like it's doing this all the time, but based on ping and pong. But if you look at modern records, when they're mastered, they're compressed so that it looks like cut grass. Makes it sound very on the radio, but there's no dynamics. So you sit in the record, you can hear the dynamics, which seems to give it air and space, and it sounds like you're listening to it in a room, as opposed to this coming out of the radio like that. However, the industry has gotten to that over the years with more and more compressors trying to be louder on radio, be the loudest thing on radio. And my thing on this album was, if it's not loud enough in your stereo, get up and turn the freaking thing up.
So what's the difference in releasing an album in the 70s and nowadays?
In the 70s, when you were sitting somewhere, you knew that hundreds of radio stations were playing whatever was Caroline Paper playing, whatever they were. Now you have no idea who's playing it, who's not playing it. That's different.
Are you planning to play the new songs live?
We're doing 2 at the moment,
Carry
2
on.
on the live set.
Okay.
So, well, the special thing about them is, like, one of the tracks is a traditional shuffle. It's cut with some slack, and even if you're not a Quo fan, you kind of hear it and you think it's always been there. Mm-hmm. But then the fans are thinking, are they going to play it or not? Because he tends to mess around with the crowd and say, if you want to go to the toilet, So we might play some new tracks. But then the best thing to say is, we're not going to play anything off the new album. And everyone goes, oh. Mm-hmm. So you hit them with it, but they don't know if it's a new track or not. So I think that's been really special to see that, to be part of that new track. But it's our track, it's our piece of work. And people are, bopping away to it, wondering, this is good. Is it new or is it old?
So last but not least, I always ask my interview partners to say something in Bavarian. Want to try? So
I've got to be careful because we're in Bavaria.
One thing, it's like, hello, it's Servus beinand.
Servus beinand.
Okay, what?
Servus beinand.
Servus beinand, yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
And the second is, like, see you soon, is wir sehen uns.
Wir sehen uns.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Fantastico.
You got a party out. It's the
much.
best album I've ever done. It's a really.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother myself. I've heard them all before.
Wir sehen uns.